Hey everybody, this is Matt, and I want to share with you Jamboard, which is quickly becoming one of my favorite tools, and using it as a way to create what is called a sketch note. Now, sketch notes are visual ways for students to take notes. You and I have been probably doing this for years in our notebooks, but now you can use technology to do so, and especially if you're in a virtual learning environment, that helps out significantly. So as you can see, I have my graphic right here. I have where I've added drawings, I've added text, I've added post-it notes, and I've also added some highlighting. So let's show you how you can do this with your students. So first of all, you want to open up a Jamboard. Now, there's a couple different ways you could do this. First of all, you could have your students open up their own Jamboards by just opening up the Jamboard app on their iPads, or they could go to jamboard.google.com. There's another thing that they could do as well, and that is you could create a template for them. So for example, if you had vocabulary words that you wanted them to perhaps mention in their Jamboard, you could actually add them and then send this as a copy in Google Classroom to your students. So there's a couple ways of doing it. So let's just say that we're creating our own sketch notes for maybe our students to have in class. What I like doing is I like using the text box right here, and I'm going to put down my topic, and that is what is UDL, which is the Universal Design for Learning Framework. Now with sketch notes, there's things that you want to add. So such as you may want to add key terms. So adding key terms, you might want to add a text box. So, we want to definitely talk about access. I'm going to duplicate this, and we definitely want to talk about barriers. Okay, so once we do that, then we can go in and add different graphics. So for example, if I wanted to draw, I have the drawing tools right here. I have a pen, I have a marker, I have a highlighter, and a brush. So with Universal Design for Learning, I'm going to draw a brain right here. Okay, and so I'm going to draw, the gray matter in the brain. Okay, right here. There we go. All right. Now, with this particular framework, there's actually three different parts of the brain that we're going to talk about. So what I liked doing is I liked actually using the highlighter tool on Jamboard, which you see right here, and I like to color code things. So I'm going to highlight this front part of the brain right here. I'm going to go in and I'm going to use another. This is the engagement part of the brain right here, and then maybe I'm going to do this, which is the recognition part in the back part of the brain right there. Okay, so a lot of times with sketch notes, you want to make sure that you have important concepts and have some notes on those important concepts. One tool that I would recommend using is using the actual sticky note tool. Okay, so the sticky note tool can be used to help elaborate on some things. Now you're limited on how much space you have, but this could be a great way of posting something. So let's talk about the strategic network. That's responsible for how we show what we know. And I'm going to color code it as blue because I want it to line up right here. Now I can add other components, but I'm not going to do that for this example. I'm just going to simply maybe move this over here. I can resize it if I want. However I want that to work. And to give it a little bit more of a flow, I'm going to use the marker tool right here, and I'm just going to draw an arrow, which I can use this or I can draw a shape. And I'm going to color code it. So I'm going to use a highlighter here, and I'm going to color code it as blue because that's related to that part of the brain. Now, there's other things too, such as if you wanted to show such a progression of some sort or step by step. So let's talk about maybe access and barriers here, and let's use an arrow. So I can go right here and I can use an arrow. I can draw that right here, and I can even change the color by going up here. Now, you're sort of limited on what you can and can't do on Jamboard as far as colors and some of the tools, but that's okay. I also have text box here, and I can add images. So a lot of times images are great to have, especially if you want to maybe make some things stand out. So for example, right here, if I want to do a Google image search, I could do, let's do question. All right, and I'm going to choose this person right here, and I'm going to choose insert. Once I do that, then I can place that person right in here. Now notice this actually pops out. It layers things just like you would in Google Slides or Google Drawings or even Docs. So you can go up to these three little dots up here and you could send that to the back if you want it to sort of stand out a little bit better for you and your students. Now, you can also add additional slides right here, which could be helpful if you're taking notes on a regular basis, if you have your students maybe taking notes throughout the course of the week. Now, this is my finished sketch note right here for what is Universal Design for Learning. And let's say that I want to now share this. There's a couple different ways I can do that. I can share it simply by turning it into Google Classroom if I'm a student. I can share it with my students simply by clicking share right here and then changing who can access it. A lot of times it might be helpful to send it as a view only document so that people can see and not make any changes. But the other thing that I really like is you can go up to these three little dots and you can download this as a PDF or an image. So if I wanted to download it as an image, let's check out what happens. It'll download it and it downloads it as a PNG file. When I open it up, what I have is I have something that looks like this graphic. And actually it's not, I'm on two screens right here and it's not sharing, but it's basically the same exact thing that you see on my screen here, minus the toolbars and minus the website. So this could be really helpful for printing something out. It could be very helpful for doing a variety of things. So hopefully you enjoy that, and happy hunting, happy sketching.